live now, Kate. So any swearing, just do under your breath. And
Okay.
and as soon as we start seeing some comments, we'll start with it. I've got to usually ask, are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Is how we start them all. But yeah, hello everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday Tune-In. As you can see, I've upgraded Andy. Hey Dave, how's it going? Okay, so we're definitely live. So bonjour, Marky V. He's just come back from Annapurna as well. Ramona. You're gonna see. These are a lot of regulars that are going to be coming through now, Kate.
Right.
But everybody, welcome to the Tuesday Tune-In. As you can see, it's me and someone you might not have met before. So this is Kate, and I've asked Kate to come on because she is a previous winner, one of the first, I think, if not the first winner of our Everest Base Camp competition, where we gave away a free trip. Kate was the person that won it. And then I was lucky enough to go to Everest Base Camp with Kate in April. And so I brought her on basically just to tell her story of winning the competition, how it was when you went on the trip. And I already said to her beforehand that she can be honest. And yeah, so welcome, Kate. Welcome to the Tuesday Tune-In. So how are you?
Hi. Welcome. Yeah, it's good to be here. I'm really well. Yeah, really well. It's been a bit of a bonkers 3 years since. Is it 3 years? Yeah, 3 years.
I know.
It's flown by because obviously in the middle of all that we've had just nothing, like a weird thing. But
yeah, I know. It is almost like we've all been in, I don't know, it's like a dream for 2 years. And now we're just starting to wake up and do things. And I've just spilled fizzy water all over myself, which is quite professional, isn't it? But I think the last time I saw you, Kate, was when we decided to do Ben Nevis, on I think the hottest day of the year. Yeah, and it was a pretty hardcore.
Yes. Very hot for Scotland, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But we got a view at the top, which you don't often.
Yeah. By all accounts, you only get that about 30 days a year as well. And the day that we picked to go on was it was so hot. Sorry, I think the internet's a little bit delayed.
The connection seems to be going awesome.
Yeah, that's typical. That always happens on everyone. Yep, I can see you, Kate. We've got you.
Okay, that's okay.
All good?
Yeah, it was very hot when we went.
Oh yeah, it was brutal. I think both of us, when we were driving back to York that was pretty specialist. I think we were both like, when we stopped at the services, we were like limping in to get a coffee and cake and stuff. But awesome. So Kate, thanks for joining us. And obviously we met and your journey started with us when you won the competition, and you're the first person who's actually won a competition and been on a trip to actually come on a Tuesday Tune-In. I suppose the first question is, what motivated you to enter the competition? Why did you see Everest Base Camp and think that's what I'd rather do?
Well, I've always been fascinated by it, and I don't usually shy away from things. I tend to sort of sign up for things and then deal with it later. But the Everest Base Camp, it was really strange, really. I just turned 45 in the April of 2018, and I set myself a 5-year goal to go to Everest Base Camp by the time I was 50. And I told people this, but then I saw Evertrek advertising a competition. So I thought, well, in for a penny, in for a pound, I'll give it a go. And I sent off all my reasoning why, and it's something that I really wanted to do. I'm a single parent to a wonderful girl who was 14 at the time. And I just wanted to sort of show her that, you can do anything all if you put your mind to it. And then I anxiously awaited the live for the, I hadn't told anybody I'd entered, parents, daughter, anybody. I was on my own in the house when it happened. And it was the bizarrest thing, because I just, all of a sudden after the live, you know, like you and Andy be like, yay, and the winner is, and it just had my name with this like mountain thing. And I honestly could not believe it. But because it wasn't on anything I could talk to, I just had to type, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I was screaming in my house on my own. And I remember ringing my parents, and rang my daughter first, then rang my parents, and I was like, I've got something to tell you. And I think they were thinking, oh, what's she doing now? I'm going to Everest. And it was just unbelievable. And from that moment on, from winning it, the communication with you guys was just all the time, any queries. And I spoke to Andy about when I was going to go, because I thought I'd go about a year later. Yeah. This was the August, so I thought the following September. And he says, what about April? Because that's when we're going to be on it, and it'd be nice if you went when we're there. So I was like, oh, but it's my birthday in April. Anyway, he looked at it, he says, hang on a minute, let's just have a look. And as fate would have it, my birthday was the day we would reach base camp. Yeah. So it was like, it's fate. So I reached base camp actually on my 46th birthday. Yeah. So rather than taking 5 years, it took a year to the day. So amazing. Yeah.
I remember the day. And I've never seen someone so happy and yet so exhausted. You know, it was like there was two really powerful emotions. Obviously, you were very proud and you'd achieved something amazing. And then it was also like, there are so much easier ways I could have turned 46.
Celebrated my birthday.
Yeah. I mean, it is amazing that every time I go to Nepal, and I've been a few times now, I'm very lucky in that respect, and I've met quite a few people that have gone on. And every now and again, I do tend to meet someone who does seem to be affected by Nepal, and their trip to base camp does seem to like improve, like change their life in a way. I think you were one of those people, you know, because I know you've done some like ultras and stuff like that before, but I remember talking to you after base camp. We caught up and did Ben Nevis, and I remember chatting to you and all the stuff you were telling me. You went and spoke at the school and stuff like that, and I think it really did. Like, what did it mean for you when you were there? So first of all, I think, tell us about the trip itself. What did you think of going to Everest Base Camp?
I absolutely loved it. I flew out on my own, didn't know anybody that was going to be there, which I actually preferred. And before I forget, strangely enough, the people that I did go to Everest with, I am such with, and it's a really lovely sort of friendship we've got. We do obviously we sort of keep in touch a bit, but they're just like, without sounding corny, like family to me now. They're just, we've all been through something together, and it's like you're just completely exposed. Yeah. This is me at my happiest, my most exhausted. There's no airs and graces, and they were just such a bunch. But going to Everest from the start, from winning the competition, and I had just said it, but from winning the competition, I felt completely at ease. I went out there knowing everything was organised, all my questions were answered. I didn't have any things where, you know, on these tune-ins where they're asking questions about various things, but I didn't have any concern that, you know, it was planned, meticulous, brilliant. Everything was organised. All I had to do was move my feet. I'm saying all I had to do. But really easy. But from winning the trip itself was just bonkers when I was telling people that I was doing it. Training wise, I just did a lot of walking. I would sort of say them, like they say, stairmaster type thing. For me, being 5'1", the hardest bit for me actually with the trek was not so much the distance or the, you know, the elevation or anything like that. It was the climbing where you reached bits that were boulders, more like rocks, which if you had a bit of a higher stature than me, it would have been a bit easier, but I had my pole. So that was the toughest bit for me, was to climb when you know, some of the steps were higher than my knees.
Yeah, particularly on base camp day as well. You know, it's very rocky, and sometimes you have to like climb up or climb down. And I'm lucky that I've never experienced it, but I've spoken to a lot of people on the shorter side who have said stuff that you can just like stand up or stand down. That's more of a drop for us. You know,
it was a rush. We're about the same. We were like same height.
The one thing I remember about you, and I still tell this story now when people ask me what to pack in their day pack. And I remember on our way up to Dingboche, you went, "Oh, my bag's pretty heavy, pretty tired." And I lifted your bag and I was like, "What on earth is in there?" And I think there was a couple of books at least for Kenton Cool, because we knew he was out there and you were hoping to run into him and get it signed. And I remember at Dingboche, we were like, yeah, we'll just have to get Kenton to sign something else, because I never felt such a heavy bag. It had about 4 or 5 books in there. It was crazy.
I remember saying to me, "Right, no."
Yeah, well, because my bag was probably about 4 kilos at that time, and I remember picking up yours and thinking, this must be at least 12. Like, this is like 3 times heavier than mine. It's insane. But yeah, awesome. So once you'd reached base camp and you got back, because I've been lucky enough when I met you on Ben Nevis, I met your daughter as well. She's amazing and talented. I think she was like acting or dancing when I met her. She was in the middle of it. What did she think about when you came back? And what did she think when you got back? And what did it mean for you when you come back? Because I know some of the Evertrekkers will be listening and they'll be pondering whether or not to go on a trip. And we talk a lot about, you know, what it's like. But I think it's always, when me and Andy are telling you what it's like, it's always like, well, obviously they're trying to sell me something. Tell us what it was like for you when you got back.
It was just, without corniness, it was life-changing. It was something, and I remember yourself and Andy saying, you know, if you can do that, you literally can achieve anything, apart from maybe summiting it. But I tell you, you know, people say, oh, you know, the amount of times when I'd got back and they said, "Oh, did you just go to base camp?" No, I didn't just. I think they think that's like awesome and you're just trundling along. It changes you in a really, really good way. I was always confident anyway, but I think to have achieved that, I mean, parents and my daughter were incredibly proud of myself. And like you said about me going to the school, I was working in a school time, and I think that was important to the kids in my class, you know, about what you can do, because some don't even have any concept of the thought you can actually go and do and achieve these things. So it made me sort of really be passionate about saying to anybody, you can do anything. And it's amazing how many young people don't actually even, it's not even on their radar. They wouldn't even think to do an adventure like that. You know, some of the kids were asking me, can we take a caravan? You know, is it like, and I'm like, no, you can't take a caravan up there, you know. And it was just nice to be able to sort of say, these places are out there. And, you know, I mean, you don't have to go for the big guns straight away, but, you know, it changed everything. It changed my attitude. It changed my mental health massively. Changed my mental health. And I know it did for others. Yeah, you just 100%. Feel so much more. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I think that's one of the main, like when I very first went to Everest Base Camp, my first time was in 2016. And it was much like yourself. Like, I'd always been fascinated by Everest and I wanted to go there. But for the longest time, I think that I was completely unaware that you could do it, you know, and I could just get on a flight and go there and do it. You think that you kind of get trained in a way, I think, when you're doing a 9 to 5 and you're doing a daily life, and your world revolves around that work life balance, and it tends to be just that. And then when I went out to base camp and I did it for the first time, I came back and it was like I had a brain transplant. It completely changed my perspective. I was still the same person, but all of a sudden I was a traveler, and I knew that I could do stuff that I didn't think I would be able to. And it does change you. One of the guys we trekked with, Stuart, he was telling me what a big effect it had on his mental health and how much it's done for him and stuff like that. Because when we were, again, climbing up Ben Nevis, which was great because very rarely do I meet up with the Evertrekkers just in a non-work environment where we just met up and went to climb a mountain together. And I got to debrief with you all. And I remember Stuart was telling me the same thing, that Nepal stayed with him. It's like he left a bit of himself there, but in a good way. And I just said, well, that's just an excuse to go back and get it. So he has to book it again. But awesome.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Yeah. What do you think would be next for you, Kate? What's on the horizon?
Well, littler level. I've done the Yorkshire Three Peaks, and we've done Ben Nevis. So I need Snowdon and Scafell.
Nice.
But on the bigger scale, I've booked Tubakal.
Awesome. Awesome.
With going to do but I'm going to do the 8-day, because that was such a lovely thing as well about the base camp trip, was that we actually saw Kathmandu and we went on our little tour that you provided, and I saw places that'll just stay with me forever. They're just the most incredible places, and that's why I'm going to do the bigger Tubakal, just to take in the place and to meet the people. It's the people that are the big thing, that's their home. So to meet them in their own culture, it's lovely, really lovely.
That's amazing.
Everybody in Nepal was so welcoming.
Yeah. Nepal is one of those places, I think, where it's very difficult for anyone to go there and not feel like they've been welcomed by family. Straight away, people will be nervous. And we get a lot of solo travelers that are quite nervous before they go. And they wonder, like, it's frightening to, when you tell people, oh, I'm flying to Kathmandu on my own tomorrow. And people have never heard of Kathmandu. And they're like, what? Is it safe? Are you going to be okay? And then they get panicked. And as soon as you arrive there, and I'm a big believer in this, the moment the guide meets you at the airport, I think that just disappears. Because you can't feel anything else but just, okay, I'm in safe hands here. These guys are friends. And it's one of the things, and you'll feel the same in Marrakesh as well when you land in Marrakesh. Because I've recently just come back from Tubkal. Actually, Kate, funny story. Funny for everyone else is that I didn't summit Tubkal. I turned back. But you will, I guarantee you. I turned back because of heat stroke and antibiotics. But the 8-day, I think, is definitely the more experiential trip, because on the 4-day, you arrive, you go to Imlil, you summit, you come down, and then you leave again. I think on the 8-day, you get to spend more time in the Berber villages. So you are going to meet the local Berber people. You'll be staying with them. You will drink more tea than you can physically handle. Everywhere you go, part of the custom is that they'll make you tea and things like that. So just gallons of tea you are going to be drinking, but you'll love it. You'll have to go to this one place. I'll send you the details, where he has a shop near Imlil. I say near Imlil, it's about a 2-hour hike, and but he sells like carpets and trinkets and things like that. And he's the most amazing guy. He's got this really isolated shop just in the middle of this mountain. And we went up to see him, and I just bought a couple of things. And then the next thing you know, we're all sat out on his terrace, just drinking tea and eating bread and just chatting to him and stuff. And that's why I like traveling, because that experience is almost everywhere you go.
Yeah.
But also as well, I read that you started a business as well recently. So tell us about that. Tell us about what you're doing.
Well, this was a thing, I suppose, from doing base camp a bit. I just decided to train. I left the school when I was working in school because my daughter's older now. She just turned 18.
Yeah.
So I set up to do life coaching, probably on the back of the fact that I wanted to sort of be there to guide, I suppose, and support anybody that had any dreams or ambitions that they were a bit cautious in the bullet for.
Yeah.
Because I really do believe that you really can. I know I won the trip to Everest Base Camp, and my parents were amazing, and they sorted my flights. But you know, I aren't loaded, and I just really do believe where there's a will, there's a way. There really is, and it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get there. You can do it. So off the back of that, full of my hype and loving what I'd achieved, I decided to set up life coaching. So I stopped the job that I was doing and sort of turned on to something that I really was passionate about, and that's just going for you.
That's it. I mean,
what you've
honestly, that's amazing. And I do think it is really important as well, because one of the things you said earlier was that, you know, particularly a lot of young people, or not necessarily, but just people that have been trapped in the same lifestyle for a certain length of time. We're not saying it's wrong, but if those people also have a desire to do something, sometimes they don't know where to begin, you know, and someone to be able to show them the way. I mean, everything that you've done on EBC is exactly the same for everyone else. They just not 100%. They just don't get it for free. But still, everything that you've gone through mentally and physically, it is valuable. You know, everything that we've ever done here and why we do these Tuesday tune-ins, because we do think it is valuable. So for you to set up a business and help anyone in any way get out of the life that they're unhappy with and into a life they're happy with, I think is incredibly worthwhile. And I think even if Nepal had a tiny little impact on, you know, starting that, then already it's going to be a huge benefit to so many people.
I hope so.
Awesome. Awesome. Do you know when you're going to Tupcal? Have we got a date locked in for you?
February.
Yeah.
I moved it forward because I thought my daughter would be going away to university in September, but she decided to take a gap year to go traveling, which is ace. So I moved it forward to February.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You never know. I might join you on it because I need to go back. Because I when I turned around on Tupcal, I said then, and I said when I got down, that, you know, it's there's no ego in mountain climbing. You know, you get as high and you do the best as you can, and then you make sure you can come back safely. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
But there is a little bit of ego, and I just want to go back, and I want to get to the top. So I did stop, and I did turn around, and I got back safely, and I was really proud of that decision. And I got back, and I was back a week, and I thought, no, that was good. I'm proud of myself. But I do need to go back, and I do need to get to the top. So yeah, you never know. I might jump on with you. Right, because I want to do the 8 day, because I've done the 4 day now. I've experienced the 4 day, and I think doing the 8 day would be. I want to spend longer in the mountains and things like that. Because it was absolutely awesome. I can see people are gutted already. So we've got comments. We've got loads of people on the live, by the way. You know, so we've got our usuals, which is Shona. We've got Kevin. We've got Jimbo Blues, Richard Lambert, Stuart Taylor. He says hello, Kate, by the way. There's some disbelief that you were 45 when you got to base camp.
49 now.
49 now. There's some disbelief there, Kate.
That's nice. Thank you very much.
So we have got a question from Jerome that asked, had you done any trekking or high altitude or anything like that before you went to EBC?
No. The highest I'd done was the Yorkshire Three Peaks.
Yeah.
I would have tried to do a bit more, but I didn't drive. I don't drive. So I was sort of pretty restricted within Yorkshire. So Yorkshire Three Peaks was the most I'd done. I had done marathons and ultramarathons, but saying that, I didn't run them all. I'm not, you know, like speedy 2-hour marathon runner.
Yeah.
Anything like that. I just, and before I went, I'd listened and just kept healthy. They said, you know, sort of withdraw every vice for about 10 days before you go. So I literally didn't have chocolate, I didn't drink, I don't smoke anyway, but just to try and get myself in a better thing. The biggest struggle for me was the water, drinking.
Yeah.
Amount of water that you really need to do.
Funny enough, that does lead me on to a question from Gemma, who said, what was the hardest part of the challenge and what was the most rewarding? So the hardest part, drinking the water?
Drinking the water, and the weird sensation. I remember one day, I think it was on day 4 of actual trekking. I'd had a look at my thing to try and find out when it was, and I'd lost complete appetite.
Yeah.
That was bizarre. That was really bizarre, because there was a couple of us that were the same.
Yeah.
But they're so accommodating in Nepal. And I remember Barry being on the trek, and he too had lost his appetite, and they did him some roast potatoes.
Yeah.
Then we didn't lose our appetite. We had them. Yeah, it's making sure you do stay hydrated, because I must admit, I was quite dehydrated when I finished the trek.
Yeah.
You've really got to just get it down you. Just drink. Most rewarding was just, and the support of the group. There is no ego, like you said, at all. I was fastest. It doesn't always play out that the fittest do so well, because they just charge on ahead or whatever. We had some very fit people on our trip.
We did, yeah. They took it too fast. They were.
But they, you know, all of us achieved what we set out to achieve. It didn't matter and it was quite good, actually. I was glad I was a bit behind when we got to Everest Base Camp, because everybody was more or less there. So as you crossed over the bit onto base camp, everybody sang me happy birthday.
I remember.
So I wouldn't have that experience had I not. I didn't partake in Lee's Everest Base Camp fit session.
Yeah,
I was pushing it a bit far.
I was forced to. That was so when we went there. So we did have a really big mix of people when we went. We had just like, you know, people that, you know, I would say are not fit but not unfit. You know, just regular people that can walk. And then we had some ultra Ironman level athletes, and one of them was Lee, who was, I'll be honest, I'm really happy he was on our trip, because his enthusiasm, you know, was infectious. There's a certain type of person that can annoy you if they're like over enthusiastic, and when you're feeling tired and down, they can be, you know, irritating with their never ending positivity attitude. But Lee is not that guy. Yep. Lee was the one who, I don't know, something about his smile, something about the way he carried himself and the way he talked to you. It was good. And you know, it's really nice that you said the best part of it was the group, because I agree with you. I think that group, and everybody probably says this because they've all got their own group, but I think that group was really good and one of the best that I've ever experienced, because everyone supported each other and helped each other. But Lee, when we went to base camp, he runs his own gyms and things, and he wanted to do the highest PT session ever at base camp. It was only like 5-10 minutes long, but I do distinctly remember it and thinking to myself, this is terrible. Like doing squats and press ups at EBC. That was special. Awesome. So also I think we've got some more comments here. So Diane has said that it sounds like you've got a great attitude. She hasn't said specifically you, Kate. She might have been referring to me, but I suspect that it was you that she was referring to. And she's also said about, you know, sounds like you were already very fit, Kate. How would you say that you were like ultra marathon fit when you went, or were you just hiking fit?
It's really weird now because I've lost my camera. I've pressed something and I don't know where I am now, but you can still hear me.
Yeah.
No, I was not at all massively fit. My PE teachers at school would have been absolutely shocked because they couldn't even get me to run a few steps. Yes, I did do ultras, but that's sort of who I am. It's more the challenge.
Yeah.
And I do think, again, I've got no ego. So I think, well, if I can complete that challenge, that's it. I've done it. You know, it doesn't matter whether I run a marathon in 5 hours or what I do. I can say that I've done it. I did the London Marathon. Again, I sound like a fluky person, but I won that. That was in a ballot and I won it. But no, I am definitely not the most fittest. You know, I mean, I don't smoke. I just love the challenge. I'm more mentally strong, I would say, than physically.
Yeah.
You know, if I put my mind to it, I'll do it. And with base camp, I mean, I got to the base camp and I was just so proud of myself. It was unbelievable. You know, I must admit, I did get to base camp and on the way back thinking, right, I've done it now. Can you just teleport me home?
Yeah, I've had that feeling. But
I'm done.
But you know what? I think it was amazing because we know you made it. I know Barry made it, and he really struggled. Barry struggled though because he ate chicken burgers and beer. I think early on the trek.
He was hilarious. I had a photo of him at Namshare, and I don't know whether Barry's on here, but he's a Glaswegian, and he's absolutely fab fun. And I have a picture of him at Namshare, leaning against a wall with a cigarette and the brightest bottle of, was it Iron Brew or Fanta?
Yeah.
And he's leaning against a wall, and I said to him, "You're just the poster boy for Everest Base Camp."
Yeah.
But he brought Iron Brew with him in his bag, but they all exploded in the hold.
Yeah. Barry is they're good boys. I remember Barry and Darren, the two Glaswegians. They were Barry. I remember saying to her, you know, you give everyone the advice. It is advice. We strongly advise you take it to adopt a vegetarian diet and don't drink alcohol at least till you're on your way down and you get back to Namche. Yeah, no worries, Dave, no worries. Day one, in facting, he arrives before me and I turn up and he's got a burger and a beer in his hand and I'm like, fair play. You know, if that's how you want to do it. And then in Namche, he's got a cigarette and he's stopping for a fag. And I remember, you know, part of me is like, you know, I respect people that know their own mind, but the other part of me was thinking, there's a chance this might come back to bite him. And I remember when I saw him at Gorekshep the morning after base camp, I saw him and I was like, yeah, Baz, you're going to have a difficult day, mate. But, yeah. So we've had some other questions as well. So
Yes.
I think Sylvia has asked, Sylvia has asked, would you do it again? Would you go back?
I would. It's really weird because I can't see myself now, so I'm sorry. I'm some random screen. I would, in that I love Nepal and I love base camp. But for me, I'm sort of one of those people that doesn't want to do something more. It's not the same thing because I have such memories of Everest Base Camp that will just stay with me forever. And I sort of want to remember it as it was. I'd probably go back to Nepal maybe at some point because I just fell in love with Nepal completely.
Yeah.
But the trek, maybe not. And as I say, not because of the trek itself and, you know, the challenge, just because it's memories that I want to keep as they were, really. You know, the first time you see Everest is unbelievable. When you actually see it for the first time when we were going up towards the museum. Yeah. And they were like, you go to the left, you can't. That view was just unbelievable to see that for the first time.
Awesome. Well, lucky for you, Kate, there's loads more treks to do in Nepal anyway. So you can save a base camp, but go maybe to Annapurna or Manaslu or somewhere like that. I should tell you as well. So there is a community of they're like subcontractors that we have. They've actually started their own group that might be near you. I'd be told off. It's called Escape to the Peak District, I think, or Escapees. I think they might have changed it. Check it out on Facebook. There's quite a lot of Evertrekkers on here that are part of that. So if you wanted to go hiking in the Peak District and stuff like that, there's I think Mona, Jerome, and a few others. Jerome, I think, is the main one who he carries everyone's bags. And then if you pick up any nice rocks, you can give him them as well. And he carries your water and your food and your sandwiches. He's basically just like a pack horse, he's like a yak that they use. Awesome. Well, Kate, thank you so much for joining us today. It's really great to have a previous winner on here, and we'll definitely have you back and catch up with see how things are going after Tupkal as well. Awesome, Kate. Thank you very much. All you have to do in order to leave the chat is just X out, because me and Andy.
I've done that because I can't see you. I'm just looking at news stories. But no, it's a pleasure. Thank you. Yeah, awesome. Anyone who wants to go, you're in safe hands. And the guide, Santos, my guide, was just wonderful. So they get you there. You'll do it.
Awesome. Thanks, Kate. And I'll catch up with you again soon.
Yeah, catch up soon. Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Hello, everyone. So, I'll carry on now a little bit solo and answer some questions, which might mean we might finish a little bit sooner than usual. But thank you very much for joining us, taking the time to have a chat with Kate as well. It's great to have Kate on. I've wanted to get her on for such a long time because after trekking with her and then going to Ben Nevis with her, I got to know her a little bit, and it's quite rare that you actually get to know the people that you trek with, on a personal level. I'd love to get to know everyone because knowing their stories really does mean a lot. And I think that, being able to kind of know what effect it has on people is absolutely amazing. But what I'm going to do right now is dive into some questions. So the first one we've had here is from Claire Aaron, who said she's trekked EBC before and was very fortunate that the altitude didn't affect her at all. Very, very lucky. You're concerned for trekking up to Kilimanjaro. There does not seem to be much acclimatization. You really want to do this trip, and I'm hoping you can put my mind at rest. P.S. Not on Facebook, so would really be grateful for a response as well. No way. So what I'll have to do, Claire, is drop you an email. But for everyone else that's asking, so our Kilimanjaro trip, it is shorter. All trips to Kilimanjaro are shorter than Everest Base Camp, but we do the longest one possible. So we do try and do it over 8 days. Well, we don't try. We do over 8 days. It's the Lemosha route. It's a lot longer. And so far, our last season, I think out of every single person that we had go to Kilimanjaro, and there was a few hundred, I think only 2 didn't make the summit. That's partially due to, one, the strength and the quality of the guides that we've got. They know how to get people to the summit of Kilimanjaro. The second one is that we do make every effort to climb the mountain as slowly and as steadily as we can, which means that you do acclimatize quite well. We do the climb high, sleep low, which is quite difficult to do on Kili. On the shorter trips, you tend to start at the bottom and you just sort of run to the top. You can even do it in like 4 or 5 days, which is crazy. We would never do that. But on our one, because we take 8 days, we do a couple of days. I think we go to Big Tree, then Shira 1, then Shira 2. Then you go up really high to Lava Tower. And that's, it's like 1,000-meter gain in one day. But then you'll come back down to Barranco Camp. So we do have that climb high, sleep low. And, I made Kilimanjaro. Every single person in my group made Kilimanjaro. And last year, we only had 2 that didn't. And I think some of that might have been stomach issues. Altitude, 100% you'll feel it on Kili. There's no way around it. You can't get to nearly 6,000 meters and not be aware of it. I noticed just getting in and out of the tent. I made a silly mistake of bringing an inflatable mattress, but I didn't have a pump. So I had to use my lungs. And after a while, Andy wanted it, so he was more than welcome to have it. So I didn't have to blow that thing up again. Awesome. I'm going to move on to Matt now, who has asked, he finds it very difficult to choose which season would be best for him to go to EBC. Every month there's pros and cons, certainly does. And it's all a fine balance in act, considering all of the variables. Essentially, can your team publish what are your favorite? Okay, so he's kind of asking what our favorites are, when's the best time to go and things like that, and also asked me about a day pack, so I'll get there as well. So first question, it really is personal preference about when you go, but not only just preference, also about when's the most convenient for you to go. If I was going to give someone the best advice I could, I would say April, May, and October, November are the best times to go. We do March, some in March, and we do some in September as well. And particularly in March as well is pretty good. It tends to be colder. But the reason why I say April, May, October, November is because it's the most stable in terms of weather. With EBC, what worries me is not, it's not how busy it is. It's not who's here or who's there. It's all about the weather, because the weather affects how easy it is to get to Lukla, and it affects what views you get as well when you're there, because you want to be able to see Everest, see Amadablam, see Lhotse, see all of those things. And so I tend to think April, May, October, November is pretty much the best time to go. I do have a personal preference. I'd probably say autumn, late autumn for me. It's starting to come into winter, so it's getting a bit colder. I really enjoy that because I run quite hot and it just makes it nice and cool. Also a question, we say a 30-35 litre for a day pack. Would 44 to 48 be too much capacity to take? In my opinion, I think yes, 44 to 48 litres would be too much to take. The reason why I think that's too much is because people have a tendency to fill their packs if they've got the space, because you have to second guess all the time. Do I need this? Do I need that? Shall I bring this or shan't I? And if you've got the space, you think, oh, well, I'll bring it just for peace of mind. And it doesn't take long for all of those little peace of mind items to add up to quite a heavy pack. And if your backpack is 50 litres, that can be really heavy. I take a 25 to 30 litre day pack, and I'm quite strict about what I bring in there. I only put in there the stuff that I'm going to need on that day, and I'd rather kind of risk not having something than carrying a bag that's too heavy. Hope that helps. So Jerome was asked what type of boots you wore. That's a question to Kate, but I think Kate's now in the comments letting everyone know what she wore. I think she said she had some Scarpas. Yeah, she didn't use the Maindels. And let's have a quick look. Oh, Daniel Saxon asked, did we catch up with Kenton? Sadly, we didn't catch up with Kenton on that trip. We know that he was in the area at the time, but I think he was a day or two ahead of us. And I don't think he walks that slowly, so we didn't end up catching up with him. And let's have a quick look. So, yeah, Jane, you've said that you're really nervous about getting enough water in. Honestly, it is tricky getting the amount of water in. A lot of it is about, one, acclimatization, but also like how hot you run, how much you sweat. I tend to be a big sweater, so I tend to need at least 4 litres a day. I'll probably drink more than that once you're factoring in teas and coffees and things like that, but I'll probably put about 2 litres in my pack at the start of the day, drink that down, and then I'll probably put another 2 litres in to finish a day. So yeah, I might even have like a 5th litre if it's been really hot and I've sweated loads. I also, the biggest trick that I can give you to kind of get as much water in is buy those little Robinson squash things. They're like this big, and it's like really strong concentrate that you can squirt in your water. It does stain your water bladder in your rucksack, but I don't care about that. It just makes like drinking squash is so much easier to neck if you need to than drinking just plain water all the time. That's probably, I struggle most as well. Weirdly, when I'm more exhausted or if I'm not feeling that well, you tend to just shut down a lot of the things that are uncomfortable. So drinking loads of water is one of those things as well. So yeah, I 100% think those squash things are good. Andy McNaughton Jones agrees as well. Yeah, Andy, I've definitely been meaning to contact you, my friend. It's just been super busy lately. With the start of the Kili season and things like that. Awesome. So another question here. Tom Massetto has said, now the worrying part is getting to Moshi with these flight cancellations. Honestly, it is one of those really annoying things with the flights at the moment where the airports are struggling. We are getting flight cancellations and things like that. But honestly, guys, my advice with this is if you are booking a flight, book direct with the airline rather than go through like a third party. The reason is because when you go direct with the airline, you tend to get much better customer service, and rearranging flights and refunds and things like that is so much easier. I tend to go direct all the time now rather than use an agency that offers a cheaper flight. Largely because one time I had a flight cancelled on me, and they said they'd I think it was something crazy like a year or something before I got the refund. So never have that problem if I go direct with like Qatar or something like that. So Andrew Burton, how's it going, Andrew? When are we in the Beacons next? So training weekend for I think it's fully sold out, but in August. But me personally, hopefully within the next few weeks, I'll be starting training because we got the Glencoe Challenge in just over a month. So I'll have to start getting on that and training as much as I can with that. And let's have a look. How about none hydration tablets for the bladder? I tend to have them, to be honest, in my bottle at the end of the day. So I tend to like have like 2 hydration tablets in a liter of water that kind of just replaces all the lost salts and things that I've done through exercise and sweating and things like that. Okay, let's have a quick question here. So Emily Cathilla said a few weeks ago on the tune-in, here we go, what did I say? Someone suggested doing both Mera followed by Island Peak. So you researched this and think it would be your choice. You wondered if it's possible to add the connection between the two over the Ampulatsa Pass. Sounds like an insane trek. Yeah, 100%. So we did it for one person before as like a kind of a custom trip. So you'll have to get in touch with us and we'll have to look into to doing it. The Ampulatsa Pass, I think the person that did it, I think they may have got a chopper connection over to Namche, I think, rather than going over the pass, because the Ampulatsa can be particularly difficult. Oh yeah, and Sinead has just warned me that the Glencoe Challenge is 2 weeks Saturday, so perhaps I'll go training today. Awesome, guys. I think that's pretty much it for me today. A little bit shorter than usual, but hopefully you got some value from Kate. She's a wonderful person, and I think that yeah, she's you know, her experience, I think, is really important to tell, because we do offer these you know, these competitions and we give away the free trips. And then I realized the other day, I don't think we've ever had a winner on. Who are these people, these anonymous people that we say win? Well, now you've met one. Awesome, guys. Have a great weekend. I think normal service will resume next week when Andy is back with us. But yeah, take care. See you next Tuesday.